Up, episode 2. Starting a little bit late here. I'm with Darth.
What's up, boys?
Fluxy apparently had a bedtime, so couldn't make the show tonight. And due to some problems with scheduling between all of us and guests, it's just gonna be us tonight. But there's plenty to talk about. So
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
let's start off. Let's do power rankings for week 2 or the beginning of week 2. So
What's this week?
yeah, well, let's do power rankings before the games this week. I know we're on Tuesday after both games, but
What we're doing? Let's just do top three here. To be honest,
let's,
'cause I don't really think I got a top five going in.
I don't either. Every team pretty even so far. So let's start off top 3 Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference. Oh, shit. Okay, you can start that.
Start this? Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and name the Mississauga Steelheads as the number 1 team in my power rankings after week 1 or week 2. And I mean, they are storming back without a problem in sight. I mean, they're right behind the battalion, 1 point away. I mean, 7 straight wins. They beat us. I mean, last night. They're a solid team. Second team, I'm gonna have to go ahead. I'm looking at the playoff race right now. Second team, I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with is the North Bay Battalion. Once again, as the last 3 seasons have shown, this team, no matter who they have, is good. 28 points, 13-5 and 2 at the end of Tuesday with 4 straight wins. And my third top team, I'm going to have to go ahead and go with the Peterborough Petes, of course. Dar's team over here, taking over the lead from the Frontenacs after last week. They're actually tied, but given they have more wins than Kingston, and Kingston went 3-3-3 last week, it's a little just an even week after a stellar week 1. So, what about yours?
My number one has to be North Bay. They got a solid team over there. The first line's filthy. Give them that. That one line I played the other night, solid group of guys. They know what they're doing over there.
Definitely.
And my number two, if I was Kingston, they have a solid team as well. Really solid team. From what I've seen, I've watched some streams here and there. And then my third would have to be Mississauga for the run they're putting on right now. They're
Yeah.
killing it.
I mean, let's
So,
talk about some of the teams in the East real quick while we're at it. First, I'll start off. Well, let's talk about Kingston a little bit. We both agreed on Kingston being one that, it's a good team. It's crazy once again. I mean, talked about it last episode, but it's crazy that you can have such a stellar defense and so many call-ups at the same time, and still chug out wins like they are. I mean, they're a great team.
oh yeah, for sure. Kingston's well built. They have a solid offense too that plays solid defense as well. There's all around
And
a solidly balanced team. There's no doubt in it.
no, definitely. I mean, Audacity and 49ers definitely show that they know what it takes to make a real good team in the L.
Oh yeah.
North Bay, I mean, not as good of a defense as Kingston, but I
But
will
they got
say
the
that,
offense.
yeah,
They
the
have the
scoring
offense.
is crazy. It's stupid good. And Steelhead just are well built. I mean, we played looks like Schultz's line last game, Sunday, and I mean their team's great. I mean the goalie was good. It's not great, but good. Really just they played a lot of neutral zone hockey and kind of kept the puck away, which is
Yeah.
really yeah. It's hard to score when you don't have the puck on your stick. So
Yeah.
they definitely
The one
controlled the
thing I
play.
want to talk about here is Barry. Looking at this, they've fallen lower and lower and
Well,
lower and lower.
I mean, I will say this. So I'm looking at it right now, and by the way, it's not Tuesday games, it's Monday's games. They have 11 points.
They
They
have
are
three goals for.
they have 5. They're 5. points away from going and tying Sudbury, and they are only 7 points away from tying the Niagara Ice Dogs, which we'll get into more on the Niagara Ice Dogs in a couple segments. I mean, but for real, I mean this team looks like they're picking it up. I mean, still
They're on a
they're
two-game losing streak as of right now. They have 58 goals for, 108 against. How are you picking it up, buddy? Hey,
I,
DeVry.
yeah, I agree. I mean, they're definitely the lowest team, but I will say this, like,
I
I
wouldn't say they're
think
the lowest team, in all honesty.
no, not in the East though. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
they're really
yeah.
dropping hard. Let's start off with the West now. You want to go ahead and start?
The West, who hands down, my number one team is London, where they're standing right now. The Cribs, man, they have an all-around well-built team. It's amazing what they've done over there.
It is. They have a great team. I mean, I don't know so much about their third line. I think their top two lines though win almost every game they play. Hands down. I mean, that's all you really need. Go 6-3 each week, but they've gone 15-4 after Monday's games. There's only 19 games played, so there's some stats missing there. But 7-win streak and 30 points, and that's tops in the O. So,
hmm
what's your
My,
second team?
my second team would have to be I don't know. I would have to say yeah, I'm gonna go with the Spirit here, Saginaw. Nylander's team. He has a solid team as well over there, from what I've been seeing. Like I look at his roster here and there, I look around the league. He has a beauty team. He's gonna pull off a big run here for sure.
He is. And I think I'll say a few things about them too. Like I said last episode, I mean, their team's made up of a lot of veterans and amateurs. The the key to that is going to be how many people are going to get called up because the AHL is dying for call-ups. I mean, the AHL is there's some teams in the O that could beat up on some CHL or AHL teams. Um, so when people actually start looking after week 3, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of call-ups, and that's a team that's going to be targeted highly. Hamburglar time. Um, let's go see. Hamburglar time's a solid defenseman, but he's also a veteran. Going to look at their roster right now, and I mean, we're looking at him. We're looking at guys like Slothmania. He's a solid player, dude. That guy's killer. Don't F with Fred, Sprangy, Nyrock. I mean, all their defense looks like they are all veterans or amateurs. And I would say about 1/3 of their forwards are veterans or amateurs. So that's going to be huge. Plus, with the new CHL reshuffle, I mean, they're going to lose a lot more defensemen. Speaking of which, they already have 3 called up. Kairachi, Rikki Tavi, and RBK are all called up already. So I think it's only a matter of time until they lose these guys, and it's going to be kind of a thing where they're going to need to replace them.
Yeah, for sure. And my third team, looking at these stats right now, is Owen. If you're looking at this, they're on a 6-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10, 10-1 at home. This team is they're making a run. I had low hopes for Owen after a couple of the first 2 weeks there, and they're making a run now. They're doing solid. I give
They
Sparky
are.
a good hand there.
And I will say this, though. I think they had a great week last week. It's really going to depend on this next week and the week after. Um, as I'm looking, Jerome just went on IR. There's word of his Xbox breaking. Granted, Salmon, IR. So it's really going to be kind of a case where they're going to need to get their guys that are, on the PC, use them effectively. And another thing is, like Saginaw, a lot of veterans on that team, a lot of amateurs.
Yeah, for sure. Like all in all, there's gonna be a lot of teams ruined by the call-ups after the first 3 weeks, for sure.
Yeah.
All
And
of
we'll
them.
get into that a little bit more. We're probably going to talk a lot about the rosters and the call-up situations. My top 3 teams for the West, I'm going to kind of go along the same lines here. My first team's going to be Saginaw. They're killing it. They've lost their last 2, as it looks. I'm looking at right now, but their team's solid. Like I said, they're killing it right now. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the week. Second team going to be the Owen Sound Attack, and my third team is going to be the Erie Otters. Reason I say Erie is because that team is really showing some fight. There was a lot of talk about a lot of guys wanting out after week one. A lot of trades get made. Slavsky left.
Oh, and
Josh,
he's a beauty. He's a
yeah,
beauty.
Josh Canuck went to Peterborough, but it
I
looks like they really turned it around. I mean, they're only what 8 points out of second behind Owen, and I think one good week's gonna boot them right back up to the top. So
Yeah, and they have two good players over there that I'll in all honesty say I traded them there. It's Biddy and Breezy MB. Those two know how to move the puck together. They're a filthy matchup.
definitely, and I guess now we'll go ahead and talk about the next segment of our show, which is going to be. I think we're just talking. We don't have an interview this week. We don't have two. We have none actually. So we'll talk about a little bit about this. Let's talk about the call-up situations and stuff like that. Um, this season, Darth, what do you think of some of the AHL, and how do you think the rosters are going to look after the mid-season?
The AHL, man, it's crashing. There's only a handful of solid teams out there in my eyes that my eye could see. And if you're honest, a lot of these OHL rosters are going to be picked apart. Flint's gonna die, Saginaw's gonna die, Owen's gonna die off. There's gonna be a handful of teams down here
I
that are
think
dying off for sure.
the big one, and we both talked about this earlier last week. We think the big one's going to be North Bay.
Oh
We
yeah,
look at
and
their
North Bay for
roster.
sure.
2/3 of their roster is all veterans. All of them. I mean, it takes one AHL team to look at that and go, hey, I mean, 30 points at the end of the midweek three, and you go pick apart that roster. They're not gonna. I mean, they're definitely gonna have to pick up the pieces, and it's gonna depend on their TC. And that's another thing, Darth, with this CHL reshuffle and the AHL, like dying for better players. What do you? I mean, what's going to be the key to having a great team at the midseason mark?
Either get a bunch of prospects, make sure they're good prospects like most teams have done, or just get a solid TC behind you that you know will back you up after your players have been gone.
And this is a kind of a thing I've thought about. I'm looking at my roster. I've been blessed with a really good TC reshuffle.
Same
A,
here.
a lot of guys getting called down from the AHL. I got two of them on Sunday, and I mean I got some solid D-men reassigned to me. But here's the question: if for making trades and stuff, that was a big thing. You have to think the last two seasons we've had TCs that are 20 plus.
Yeah.
um, or at least 15. And that gives you a good variety of players to trade away and acquire new guys. It's going to be really hard for managers to make the moves to get prospects that are roster capable players if their guys get called up. I
It,
mean,
it's going to be a struggle. In all honesty, half of the OHL is going to fall for sure.
I think that too. I mean, and the other thing is the queue. I mean,
They're all vets. Most of the teams are down there all vets. It's sad to say.
and I mean, have you looked at the news? There's already the Titans are already filing removal requests for players, or in giving out strikes for players. The Titans are throwing out crazy amounts of league removal warnings. There was 3 today, and somebody missed a game for them today too. I mean, and that was one of the things I think we were scared of with the queue. And not to mention, that might be one team, but we know there's probably at least 5 or 6 teams that have probably gotten players that aren't even active in the league.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they just
There,
don't know how to
there's a
file
handful.
them.
There is a handful, and it's going to be a problem. I was talking about this before. It's going to be a huge problem with the queue.
I think Flux was actually talking to us, our
Three
co-host.
forfeits already.
Three forfeits already, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be rough, and just focusing on the O, since it was the original teams of this season. With all these TCs getting reshuffled, I mean, I feel bad for a lot of these teams because a lot of them must have gotten guys either without Xbox Ones or don't even have the game yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a bunch of people that I saw go that have don't even have the game or the
I
Xbox One.
I remember seeing in the shout box 5 or 6 times, and I wasn't on the site much over the weekend. 5 or 6 times I was looking at guys getting picked, and right after that in the shout box, someone was like, "Good pick." They don't even have a one, and it was like,
Good pick. They don't even have a one. Yeah. Batty, you still there, bud? Alright, well, that is having some problems. Well, yeah, like he was saying, there was a handful of people that definitely do not have Xbox Ones or even the game in general to play. So there's gonna be a lot of teams in the queue definitely getting ruined by these factors, and we talked about that before in our other show, and it's become true.
"Dorothy, you hear me?" Darth? Dorothy, hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that, boys. Vatanen seemed to lag out there. He should be back in a minute for sure. This usually happens with him, as you saw before. He was driving the mail truck. Uh, yeah, true. We can edit that out. We can edit all this out too. We can give Major a lot of work.
Dorothy, you here?
Yeah, we're talking about giving Major a lot of work with editing.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna give him a run for his money. Oh, so we were talking about the queue. Let's start back up on
Yes.
that. I mean, and that's after week 3, which is this week. I think we're gonna see a crap ton of trades.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
big time. There's already people getting waived.
I'm already getting messages from people just asking, "Oh, well, I only want guys I know," and it's like, as much as I do want guys I know, I think I'd rather have half of a TC that I know is active, and half of guys that I've tried out. For sure. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You got to try your TC this week. You got to get them into some club games with you. You got to do something. Because, I mean, I found 2 gyms that are great players in my TC, both prospects, that just joined the league after the Q draft. I mean, a lot of people just didn't want to go through all that stuff with the Q draft happening and everything and just join in and, you know, only for 2 weeks, only to get put on a new team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be big. I think the trades this week are going to be crucial to teams and their depth because I think the depth is going to get you somewhere, especially with all the call-ups that are going to happen in probably a week or two. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think week 3, week 4, we're going to see certain teams at the top, and I think after that, it's going to be really who survived the call-ups.
Yeah, big time for sure. It's gonna be a matter of the TCs for the teams that have a lot of vets, and same with the Q. It just matters all in their TC,
Yeah,
and they
and that's
better
a
hope they built it strong.
that's the thing. Like to any TC player that listens to our show, you are a crucial element to any team. People, like managers, need you. You are the guy who comes in and steps in and gets a win when a guy can't show up. I just had a guy not show up today. I had to ECU him. I got one win. I lost by one goal. To Owen Sound. By the way, great game. But I mean, those are crucial. You got to have those guys that can step in and just perform.
Yeah, and that is the crucial part of the team. It's just performance. You need an all-around solid team performance, and that's how you win cups right there. If you have a solid team, TC or main roster.
Definitely. I guess we'll kick off to our next segment. Let's talk about player surprises. Any guys that have jumped up and surprised you?
Right now, I'm looking, and the one player that's really shocked me, who's made a major turnaround from going from Erie to Erie to North Bay, our good old friend Slaveski there. He's made a major turnaround for sure. He's stepped it up a lot.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Looking at him, that was a wrong move by Erie in all honesty. He has 27 points in 7 games already with 19 goals and 8 assists and a plus 14 on the season. It's amazing how he's turned it around.
It is. You got 2 more players, you think?
2 more. That surprised me in general.
Yeah, anything, man.
Probably. What's his name? The goalie off North Bay as well in that one game. Tremendous goaltending.
Definitely.
Yeah, what was it? It was Borko Baby.
Porco, baby?
Yeah, solid tendy. I didn't think he was gonna be that good. I thought that's where North Bay's weakness was in their goaltending, and he came out and proved me wrong big
I think
time.
North Bay's weakest link is the Ollie defense. They have Tatar, L21L. He's a solid Tindy. He's a buddy of one of my guys on my team. Solid Tindy. He's putting up great numbers in the C.
Another
And
thing
then
that's really shocking me here is off Hamilton. The
Hockey
man,
Mike.
the man Dante, who nobody knows who this kid is. He came into the season. He has 20 points already in 7 games, and for a prospect, that is decent.
He's killing it. I mean, he's solid. Very solid player.
Yeah, then
I'll,
that's my 3 for the week right there.
they're good ones for sure. I mean, Slavsky's killer. I'm going to go off some guys that have surprised me this week. One, I'll start with Hamilton's The Collector. I traded this guy away to get Peach, one of my good friends. He's killing it right now for Hamilton. I guess, underestimated how good he was as a player. He's got 24 points in 7 games with that good old elite status bar right there. Hamilton's struggling right now, but it looks like, in a weaker conference, they're definitely going to be able to make playoffs.
Oh yeah, that guy's doing solid right now. Just by looking at him, he looks filthy. How could you let him go?
Honestly, did impress one of the guys that kind of evaluates some of the players at the beginning of the year. Let him slip away.
Yeah, stuff like that happen.
It happens.
The one thing they have to watch though is if he gets called up. That's gonna be one major thing to watch. He is an amateur.
Yes, he is, and I believe he played in the AHL last season. Another guy that I'm going to mention real quick is one Patrick 2184 on Oshawa. This dude has a losing record, but is killing it in stats. Absolutely annihilating. Once
32
again,
points.
he is an amateur,
insane.
but he's just tearing it up.
That is actually insane.
It is. And actually, looking at this, it looks like he got called up for a short time as a temporary IR call-up, so he is getting targeted by his AHL team. So that's another call-up capable guy right there. My third guy, I'm going to go with this guy. I have not seen him in the top 50. From Ottawa, King Gibbs or Gilbs? King Gilbs, 28 points, 8 games, 6-2 record. I mean, this is once again, it looks like a veteran or amateur status player, but he's absolutely annihilating the O right now, and he's definitely showing some talent. It looks like he's a previous season 3 and 4 player, and right winger for Ottawa.
And looking
Definitely
at some of
killing.
these games he's played some strong teams and some weak teams. He's played Kingston, and he's played Guelph, and put up major points there against Oshawa as well, which are two weaker teams than now. Which, although it's feeding, he is still putting up a major amount of points for the amount of time he's played. And
Yeah,
coming out of nowhere too, just shocking everybody. Because I honestly had no clue of this kid until now.
Ottawa, and once again, Ottawa, not a strong team, but it looks like, well, at least one of those lines is definitely killing the O. And that's a thing to say about the OHL this season. It seems like every team has at least one line that can produce some wins. So, I mean, and that's what's making the O so close right now.
Yeah, that is definitely what it is. There is at least every team except a couple have a major line that just kills people.
Yeah, speaking of which, it looks like our young co-host, OD Flux, Valdor manager, has decided to join us on this podcast. How you doing, Fluxy?
Actually pretty terrible.
Pretty.
Flux is awake.
0-4. My AGM just stepped down. Half my team is inactive. The NHL called up one of my defenders, so now I have 2 defenders.
Oh God. Actually, you know what? Let's take some time to talk about that, Flux. Darth, I think will agree. Give us an update on the queue after about 4 games in the queue.
So we've played every single game in Club Challenge.
Smart move.
All the lag and the stupid EA shit is still the same.
In all honesty, my input on this is club makes you lag a lot more than regular just invite lobbies do in my mind.
Really?
Because in club, whoever's the captain, you still will get that captain lag, no matter what. Like I've had it happen before.
Yeah, I'm cool with one person having lag. I'm just would rather have one person lag than the rest of my team. I've
Yeah.
also heard if you make your goalie the captain, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. I just don't like the method in general in my eyes. I like the lobbies, and in my eyes, we should just stick with it.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot more about that too in another segment because since we don't have interviews, we're going to talk about some of the pressing issues the league's having or players and management are having with the league and NHL 16 currently. Flux, give us some more updates on the queue. So you say that a lot of people inactive. How many forfeits been in the queue so far? Do you know? Or
Snake has 4 forfeits.
Niagara? Oh,
Niagara.
we know that. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
That'll come up soon. Don't worry
So
about that.
I'd rather be 0-4 than have 4 forfeits.
Fox, don't get started on that. Hold on, just wait. We're gonna have a whole little segment for Snake and Niagara.
So I was talking to a New York fan, the GM of the Huskies, and
Yeah.
so I joined the party like 30 minutes before pregame, and I was like, "So how you feel about Vashon?" And he's like, "Oh, no worries. I don't think he's gonna be a problem. He's not even worth the #1 overall pick." And then Vashon goes and drops like 7 points against them, 5 goals, like 2 assists. I feel like them and the Mooseheads are just taking everything.
And that is something to be said. We had on our new show, since we have now collaborated with some great media minds in CK Wellfan and Meja, and now they're going to be producing shows under a new brand that we're going under. And Ozzy really knew what he was doing. He seemed to have a lot of a few seasons under his belt, knew some players. I mean, that's the thing though, is with the Q draft, we saw a lot of amateurs and veterans taken. Like we just said in our last segment, mid-season, I think you'll see a lot of calls from the Q because a lot of people are joining week 2, week 3 into the CHL to ensure that they get in the CHL and can tear it up in the C for at least a couple weeks before getting called up. There's several teams like that. I saw Everett's team, the Rimouski Oceanic. They picked up, I think, almost their whole team as veterans and amateurs. And same thing with Halifax, a lot of amateurs and veterans. I think guys putting up 7 points in the queue won't last very long, at least.
Yeah, their team is full of just amateurs and prospects, and the majority of it is amateurs, especially one of their top D-men in mine is Silky Johnson. He won't be there long.
No. So, Flux, that must make you feel at least a little better. I know you picked up a lot of newer guys to the league. Flux, what about, any really solid teams you played yet, or is everyone kind of still getting their gears set and getting their feet planted into the league?
Honestly, like, not to like pull the EA card, but all of my games, there's just been factors that like it's not NHL. Like it's just this game that's so unrealistic. Like we'll skate over the puck and the magnet doesn't work.
I think.
And like we'll hit poke checks and then it goes directly to the other player.
And that's the thing that's been happening to me all week too. I think we practice, and Darcy probably have some stuff to say about this too. I know you've been having problems with EA.
No, I want to talk with EA.
The EA in this week in particular has been crazy. One, I will say this. Shout out to one of my top lines after week 1 was Dubs, Greggy, and Vince. They can't even stay connected for a whole game. It's not their connection. They all live in Quebec. All of them lag out. I have people saying they don't even want to play anymore. That line does not even want to play. They can't connect. They lag out of each game. Each period, they're lagging out. Club challenge or drop. Not only that, but some of these goals that are happening in games and the way the puck's bouncing, it's just... I thought 15 was bad. 16's 10 times worse.
I was playing drop-in today, and I literally saw somebody hit somebody, and the guy flew up and over the boards into the crowd.
Darth, I know you have some stuff to talk about EA.
I don't want to express my feelings on EA. It's not going to go well for EA. let's just say EA needs to fix their shit and ASAP.
That's what everybody's saying the entire time.
I'm not going to lie to you. There's probably at least 10 points on each team that are just because of EA. Each team in the L.
Let's put it this way. In the past 2 weeks, I've had been able to finish a game. I've gone through the first, second, I've logged out in the third. Past 2 weeks.
See, and I did, I think Sunday, I was my first and probably only game this week. I had a late night at work tonight, couldn't make my game. I think that was the first time I ever had button lag, and I was livid. I almost couldn't even deal with it. And now I understand what everyone's bitching about. The fucking button lag, you can't move. I'm playing defense. I'm trying to fucking block a shot, and I'm over here and the left boards. The guy's coming up the center. I'm over at left boards blocking a shot that's not even there. I'm looking like I'm T-bowing into the boards like a dumbass because I got a 5-7 second button lag. It's ridiculous. It's almost unplayable.
Yeah, it's unplayable. It's not almost unplayable. It is unplayable.
All I keep telling my guys is I don't really care where we're at in standings or anything. You guys just chug out 5 wins a week, and I don't care how we get there. Let's just get the playoffs and hope the fucking game's fixed. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's all I care about.
As long as we get the W, no matter what happens, I'm happy.
I just want to get seeded in the playoffs, and I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'm not. My guys lost tonight because, a team paused and then, quote unquote, lagged out. I'm not going to complain about it. It happens. There have been crazy things that happened this season. I think somebody needs to send a proper game maker to EA so they can actually produce a game that's playable and worth $60 and not $5. So I mean, that's a whole other issue. But I mean, to hear that the queues once again, as we expected, having problems with people that don't have Xbox Ones or just don't play, we are seeing the backlash now. I mean, Flux, how many ECUs have you had to use this week?
Well, actually, I don't have any registered ECUs, but I've had 6 people sign up for games and then just not even be on Xbox or show up or even contact me.
Wow. Let me ask you this, and I don't know if you want to give this away, but when it comes down to Wednesday's games and Thursday's games, do you actually have enough players to play those games?
Probably not. It's probably going to be a forfeit, and then, you know,
And I'm not even gonna. That's not even your fault, to be honest with you. I think this is Darth. I don't know what you had to say about this. This is something we expected.
Oh yeah, big time. I saw this coming from a mile away. I don't know why they chose to expand to the queue this season at all, to be honest with you.
Speaking of which, viewers and listeners, we will be having Zeno on for an interview at some point soon. Like I said, scheduling didn't work out. We didn't have our guests on, so we will be back to having guests after this episode, hopefully. But I mean, that's a question I want to ask him: is what do you do now? Like, you kind of just have to throw your hands up. Like, Flux, you already have a management position. You can't change that. You already have players.
and
They
my
can't.
my AGM stepped down today.
Any reason behind it?
Well,
He
technically,
said
he could change it, but he would have to take a 3-season ban.
it's too much of a responsibility for him. Is what the quote unquote he said, and the only reason that I picked him as the AGM is because he was the only person I could find to be the AGM.
In all honesty, it wasn't the right time for the queue expansion. We had a while to find our AGMs. Like my AGM I got, I don't know if Batman did this, but my AGM literally was directly across the road from me. Like I've known my AGM for a while, so I can trust him to do stuff if I need it.
Well, the whole purpose was I had an AGM selected. I was actually on management by myself this season. Um, but it turns out he thought that he was going to have too much commitment. Turns out now he's our captain. Frag what frag. Good, very good friend of mine. And I just ended up going back with Major again. So, but still, I mean, Flux, how many days did you get to like actually scout?
I had games every single day, but half the time nobody showed up. You know, like honestly, the only thing I can do now is throw up the white flag. You know,
I hate to say it at this point. Now you just have to hope and pray that people are still signing up for LG, and they will. Trust me. But now you're gonna depend on random assignments, and that's a scary place to be. Darth, I'd be scared shitless.
And that's why I didn't take a Q spot. I'm happy even though, because I saw this coming once I heard about the Q expansion. And I hate to say it, I feel bad for the GMs.
I mean, yeah, I think we all feel bad for the GMs. I mean, some guys like Ozzy, they message their players to make sure they're active, but I'm sure he'll have problems this week too, and next week. I mean, the problem is that you literally are gonna need to either trade good players for just active players, or you're gonna have to find gems on TCs that aren't yours.
well, I found a gem in the waivers, and being 0-2 for the first two games actually helped. It was like McDavid something.
Oh,
He
he's a
had
good
like
player.
70 games, like 111 points.
But
So
once again,
I got
that's
that snag, but
that's an amateur veteran. I know, and
A major
definitely a good
snag
pickup
on
for
my
you.
waiver list. I know he's gone now. I don't know whoever got him, but Eric Stahl. He was a major snag. He's a solid centerman.
Yeah, he
I
is.
was trying to
Actually,
snag him myself.
bigger fucking waiver claim. much appreciated and much loved Sarnia GM waived NHL Monahan the week end of the Q draft, and he was snagged up by a good friend of mine in KSI Korean and Patriots team in St. John's.
But he's called up now. If you go look,
He
I
is.
stand corrected.
He's not called up, I don't think, is he?
If I stand corrected, he is. I swear, I was looking for Monahan. I was gonna trade for him.
Yeah,
I swear he's been called up.
he might have been, but still a nice snag. At least you have the rights. And that's another thing to talk about. With
Actually, no, he hasn't. He's not even on KSI's team anymore, Monahan.
What?
He's not here. I'm looking. I do not see any sign of NHL Monahan on this roster.
One of those great complain to Zeno, I messed up, and
Let's check Sarnia real quick. Yep, there's NHL Monahan. Sarnia TC called up.
huh. I wonder how that happened. That's something we'll talk about another day. For sure. I'm sure there's something weird. That's a little weird. He definitely got on waivers. That was definitely Tarasenko sending him through waivers too. So that's weird. All right. Well, I guess now let's go ahead and talk about what we all have been waiting for.
Beloved Snake. Snaky,
Snake
snaky.
Flux, I know you don't have a lot to say about this, but
Can I start, please? I beg of this.
why don't I start out with the story that happened first, since I know
Okay.
I've read up a little bit.
Alright,
So I'm sure everyone that listens to the show has already known. Snake, very established GM in the CHL, quit due to, I guess, some bickering between him and an AHL GM about a player call-up. Snake then decided to quit the CHL, I'm guessing. Was reinstated after he talked to Zeno. Understandable. A lot of people had a problem with it, but Colonel, a very respectable AGM or GM for the AHL, gets banned. Then gets called back with a suspension. And to start the week off, Niagara has 4 forfeits. And then, according to about an hour ago, Snake has once again quit the CHL. So he came back for 4 games to not play at all, and forfeits. And quits. And there is no word on why he's quit yet. I think everyone's anxiously awaiting. I know in the manager's chat, Great One left about an hour before Snake quit, and then that was it. Darth, you got any news on this? I'm sure you do.
Oh.
You played him tonight.
In all honesty, I was going to a game hoping to play, and my boys were pumped to play. And he pulled his lineup out of the game, and one of his players actually messaged me. I'm not going to say who. Messaged me saying that Snake had pulled his whole lineup out for the rest of the week, and I was really questioning what he was doing. And after seeing that he quit, in all honesty, I'm sorry to say this, if I don't know how Zeno's going to react, but Snake, stop acting like a 12-year-old in the candy shop. Grow a pair and deal with it, dude. It's virtual hockey. Stop being a baby about it and play the goddamn game.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything. We're going to tiptoe around the subject probably as much as possible, and I'm sure some of this will get edited out. So, but I mean, as we just heard, Flux over here is a Q manager and doesn't even know how he's going to put a lineup out at the end of the week. At least this kid's trying, though. I mean,
0-4, still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem I guess I have. And then suddenly, how many of Snake's players are on waivers now?
A lot. In all honesty,
Pants is right.
Yeah, and Marley.
And Marley?
Honestly, okay, can we refer to this as the Snake refugee crisis?
To be honest,
I'm
this
actually going to put a claim in right now.
I already did. I'm not gonna lie. I put a claim in on Marley Boys. Sorry to say it. Um,
This is the Syrian refugee crisis of LG right now.
in all honesty,
This reminds me so much of Pete Cruz. It's not even funny.
I already know my other parts can get it out for what I said. But in all honesty, Snake, what was the use in you coming back if you were just gonna quit?
Well, and I don't want to start pointing fingers and talking crap, but I mean, Snake, when we approached him with this idea, shot us down immediately after we told him the idea of the podcast we were originally supposed to pair up with CHL Nation.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think we should talk about this because it's probably gonna get cut out.
It might be, but I guess the big thing is I just don't understand. He has a quality team.
He's just being a baby about it, dude. In all honesty, he cannot handle a little bickering. He just gets, I hate to say it, salty. He just can't handle it, and it's not a good thing to have. As a GM, you need to be flexible and need to understand that people will hate you for who you are, and he can't face that. And as a 30-year-old or however old he is, man, you would expect him to.
Well, I would just expect him to come out with a little bit more.
Dignity.
Not only that, but he signed up to lead a group of people throughout the CHL, and and he's done this last season. He didn't have the greatest team last season. I mean, he got swept on his feet in the second round, and I mean, he always said he was dedicated to his team. It's just very strange to see this happen. Um, I'm trying, like I said, I'm tiptoeing around the subject as much as possible. We don't like to get into the dramatic things or
I
anything
ain't
like that.
tiptoeing through nothing. But we all know Darth doesn't tiptoe.
I don't either usually, but given we have a job to do.
That's
But I
right.
mean, it's one of those things that you talk a big game, and you used to be the head of one of the biggest shows in the CHL for 2 seasons straight. You preach all of this, and then you go back and you quit the CHL twice. I hate to say it, but if he doesn't get banned, there's gonna be uproar. A
Well, there's gonna be
lot.
huge. To be honest, there's already been a huge uproar, and for him quitting again, if he did not get at least a 3-season ban for dropping his team, there's gonna be a huge discussion about this for
And I
sure
think I
around the
guess
whole.
the only thing that would make sense is we know, and it's been widely publicized, the hate that is coming from the AHL.
But in
And
all honesty, that is his own doing.
it is. It
He
is.
shouldn't have done what he did.
And that's one thing. To any newer manager or anything else, I've seen a call-up thread already made. I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how to handle AHL call-ups and everything. One, once a player is called up, do not scream and bitch at the manager. You will literally just make yourself look like an ass. One. Two, send them a message, a courteous message. Introduce yourself and ask how long the player was getting planned to be called up for. Ask him, questions, whatever you want to ask. I mean, hell, my backup goalie, A1 Filthy just got called up last week, right on the second day of the Q draft. Sent him a message. They're very cool. They're like, yeah, I mean, we're gonna see if he works out on this line, and if he doesn't work, then so be it. We'll send him back down to you. And I was like, awesome, cool. Just give me a heads up next time. I think you should always like establish a very good friendship with the AHL managers because that's how you, one, don't get all your guys called up. Two, they feel a little bit more sympathetic and nice towards you. So I think Snake had probably a run-in with that, and I'm sure that people were telling him they're going to call all his players up. I think we all kind of anticipated that when the hashtag Free Colonel came out like crazy. Darth, any more thoughts on this subject before we move to another one because we might get in trouble?
Um, All I have to say for final words is saltiness. That's all. Final input on the subject.
And then another thing I will put into this. If you want to make a statement in the CHL, don't quit the league.
Twice, not once. Don't quit it twice.
You're not making yourself look good. I mean, and I think that's I hate to say this, but I think especially one, but two times in one season you quit management.
You deserve it, man.
That's an instant blacklist, I think.
You deserve it. It's just showing utter disrespect. They give you a second chance, and the Bogs agree to give you a second chance, and you're pretty much just spitting in their face by quitting once again, and also forfeiting and making your team lose games in the process. It's just a joke.
Not only is he quitting, Flux, and I kind of want your input on this. He's quitting on his team. There is 35 players on his team right now that need direction and leadership. And not only that, he's letting his AGM down too.
We're like polar opposites. He's letting his team down, and my team is letting me down.
It's official, boys.
My AGM's letting me down.
What happened?
My players are letting me down.
I'm sorry for interrupting you here, but Great One has stepped down. He's gone. I'm looking at the roster. Great One is no longer part of the Niagara Ice Dogs either.
Wow. Who is the GMs?
He has followed in his GM's footsteps and kindly walked away.
Okay, as of 10:52 p.m. Central Time, 11:52 Eastern Time,
and 8:52 Pacific.
Great One has stepped down, and
Hog and Nutmeg and Owen Simpson are the GM and AGM of the team as of right now.
Speaking of which, those are actually good buddies, and they're very nice guys.
I've heard about Simpson. I've heard he sounds like a nice guy, and I'm honestly looking forward to meeting him, possibly getting him on the show one time. I'd be really interested in talking to him, maybe.
He is, and he's actually a good buddy of mine, so we could probably arrange that. Speaking of which, I guess my next question is, why would you not name Marley for Life and Pillow Pants the AGM and GM?
Because, to be honest,
they're actually a couple and they live together.
Yes, but honestly, I believe that Marley was, you could say, somewhat a follower of Snakes. She played with him in multiple different leagues, from what he told me. I'm pretty sure, again, like two other leagues.
Why would you get waived then? They would probably quit, right?
I think Great One or Snake may have waived them before they left just to help them out.
Wow.
Because I don't know I don't know when exactly they were waived. I can go back to my notifications.
They were waived about 2 hours, right after Snake left. So that was Great One's doing for sure.
It was either Great One or just as Snake decided to quit. And before
it was just as Snake decided to quit. I think it was Snake's last move because I think in the news bar it actually says Snake has quit the LGCHL, and then Marley gets sent down and Pillow Pants gets sent down.
I'm gonna check this right now as you talk about this.
Because now they won't even be on the same team. That's the question: would you want to stay together?
Stealthy Balmer of the Q that put on this. I believe that's one of the GMs of the Eagles of an IR. I'm looking here. Let's see. Yeah, 8:35, like we said. It didn't happen when we said 8:35 p.m. Pacific time. That would be 11:35 Eastern and 10:35 Pacific. Central. Great One quit. And
that's crazy. I could not ever imagine quitting on my team. I hate to say, even if Major had to step down, I would. We're all a group of nerds and we all love hockey. Like, I would never step down.
Right? No, it was not Snake's doing. I'm looking at this. It had to have been.
It's Great One. Yeah.
But it was probably in Snake's power that he made Great One do it. I'm not trying to point fingers, but I don't think Great One's the type of guy that did that. I talked to Great One. He seemed like a nice kind of guy to talk to.
We'll see how much of this gets edited out, but for your information, people, Snake is out of the league. And,
he's gone.
Hear more about this story probably at the next episode. Promised. We'll definitely have Zeno on. We're probably going to ask a few questions.
Looking at this, an NHLer has come down. Well, I'm looking here. I'm not trying to go off topic, but an NHLer has come down and he's been put on the Mooseheads.
Who?
Wags 82.
Wow, that's a good player.
Yeah, he cleared waivers completely through both, and he's been assigned to the Mooseheads.
As if they didn't have enough good players.
Well, and there's something to be said about that. When someone gets waived like that, it usually means there's probably a problem with that player. So
Yeah, he's right here on the TC.
something to watch for, because if he went through two people in management, he either made management pissed off or he is inactive. So we'll see. I mean, maybe his Xbox broke.
No, he's put up. He has played. His last game was played on the 16th, and today, the last game was played. It says 16th on here, but I believe that'd be the 15th. He played his last game today. He put up 3 points too, as well. He has 18 points already, and yeah, that's I don't know how to say that. He's been waived.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, a lot of guys from the AHL and NHL getting called down.
And know what it possibly could have been? It could have been a glitch, because it says right here his status is a prospect. So I don't know about that.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
It is. But then when you go look on the roster, it says he's an amateur. So I don't know what to make of this, in all honesty.
Definitely interesting. I guess we should start moving on with the show now. We've been on for an hour now. Let's go ahead and finish up some of our next segments. Well, I guess we can start on the fill in the blanks. These are always fun.
Ooh, I got one.
You got to fill in the blank? Let's go.
Who do you think blank may return back to the OHL? Could he come back?
Yeah, that's a story that's going to happen. I mean, it's going to come out probably tomorrow. There's going to be a public statement announced.
I'm honestly looking to see if the Doghouse talks about this as well, if you guys know who they are. Because I already know.
Will. Our good old boys, Sir Mike Knight and Aces, and Mercy. They'll have plenty to talk about this. I know they were quite upset about Colonels leaving. A lot of those guys were in the AHL last season.
Yeah, I don't really talk Colonel, but I know who he was, and he was honestly a good guy. I was kind of shocked that he got banned, honestly.
Definitely a solid guy. I got a couple fill in the blanks that probably won't get edited out. All right. So last week we talked about who was going to be on the top after week 2. Once again, London was. A lot of people said Kingston. So I guess my next question is, who will be at the top of the leaderboards in points after week 3?
Vashon.
Okay. The Q. I'm gonna go with Halifax.
Probably. Well, yeah. I'm talking about points-wise, player stats.
Oh, player stats with the most points on a team.
Again.
I'll tell you this now. This isn't me being, what you say, selfish or pointing towards my team, but Polychunks. He has 3 games left still. He plays 2 tomorrow and close out the week Thursday. And I can tell you right now, will put up major points for sure. He's never let me down.
Some of that self-love. I'm gonna go ahead and say Bernie Wolves once again will sit atop the top of the points. I think
he played this week.
I think he's only played. I don't even think he's played one, honestly.
I'm gonna look into that as we speak about this. Actually, I should have.
I mean, another good guy to throw up there, Beauregard from Flint, solid player.
And possibly, what's his name, became Stormin Slavetsky, if he hasn't played 3 yet.
Slavetsky?
Yeah.
It's got to be Vashon. 2 games, 16 points.
Here's my question, though, and with that, I mean, we're going to go a little off topic here. I know we're supposed to be doing fill in the blanks, but now you got me thinking, this Vashon guy, as a GM, if you have one stellar player and the rest of your lines aren't producing, do you trade that stellar player and you get 2 quality guys back to make another line, or that's a good question.
Honestly, here's a friendly tip to the queue. If you have a stellar player that can put up major points, and you have 2 wingers around him that are decent, but he does not click with, trade them away. Keep your number 1 star. In all honesty,
I'm going to go the opposite way there. I'm going to go the opposite way.
I can't, because
You know,
You did there with that mistake of trading me your sentiment, and look what he's doing now.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, I had so much player depth on my team that I had to call somebody up. I had to get rid of that center. Flux, what do you have to say about it? You're a Q
well,
man.
honestly, I'd dump him for some D-men because he's gonna get called up to the AHL, NHL.
That is very true.
So might as well get something out of it and screw over another team.
I was speaking prospect-wise, that's how I was speaking from.
Yeah. I think if I had Vashon on my team right now, he's playing top line minutes, and nothing else on my team is working. The first thing I do is trade that player away for 5 players. 4 to 5 players. I mean, you get at least 2 D-men and you get 2 wingers. Or a center and a winger. It's a Q. You got guys that aren't even having active players on their team. If you have 2 lines, you will win the Q. 2 lines will win the Q over. You will have it. It's done. Set in stone, especially if they're prospects. That's what I would do as a manager.
Okay. I think we should move on to the next fill in the blank here. We kind of got off topic.
We're getting off topic like crazy tonight. The next fill in the blank, I'm going to have to go ahead and say who will be the bottom team in the conference after week.
Niagara. Niagara. It's already over and dealt with. What I'm trying to say.
Niagara too. I mean, it's either Niagara or Guelph, though.
Valdor.
Did you just call your own team, or is it just me?
You, the manager of Valdor, is calling out his own team. Oh, that's funny.
In all honesty, I'm not gonna say who, but in my opinion, if we're going with Q, it's gonna be the Huskies. It's gonna be.
Really?
Go look at NY Fan Forever stats. Dude has pylon season status. Has a 5 goal against average, and he's a streak of goals. Dude has only won 1 game so far out of the 4, and he still hasn't put in the 3rd one, which I'm pretty sure was a loss. He's lost 8-1, 4-2, and he beat Victoriaville, aka Germ's junior team. If y'all follow me before, Germ has a junior team now. If you follow the draft show, aka Victoriaville, who are probably following in Germ's footsteps.
I mean, possibly. Who's the bottom team in the queue right now is the question.
I'm pretty sure it's Valdor. It's Valdor. I'm pretty sure it's Valdor. I hate to pick on Yodi. I'm pretty sure it's Valdor.
Okay, it's Valdor. It's definitely Valdor.
I just gotta figure out how to pull something out of my ass and get this team together.
Alright, I'm gonna actually make a bold statement.
Tomorrow the Wave Hammer goes out.
The worst team in the queue, I think, for this fill in the blank, and we'll have a Q and an O for the fill in the blanks. The bottom team in the queue, after their first week, is gonna be Quebec. One, and I will say why. I will explain.
You're dusty.
I hate to say this, Valdor. You only have 3 goals in 3 games. That's fine. At least you're not allowing 19 goals in 4 games.
Can I say one thing though? Last time I checked, you had to be above a certain age limit to maybe a GM of a team. And secondly, I thought one of the GMs had a band in Quebec.
That's a touchy subject. Once again, I will say this, Zach.
Stop tiptoeing, man. Just come out.
Okay. I'll just be honest. One, Zach was a GM in Season 6. That lasted a week. I was a prospect, took over the team. I got kicked as well, but for certain reasons, such as my GM and AG and captain of the team, they didn't like me too much for trying to win. They wanted to play with their friends. So I will say this about Zach. It's really hard to be an AGM of a team when you get grounded. and I think that's going to be the downfall. One, you're
But unless he does have, I wouldn't say a father figure, but he has an older guy over there help him out as the GM of the team.
true, but this is a Q team, one. So who knows how many guys are active on that team? And two, I mean, if I was a key manager, I want the guy with the highest skill level as to be my AGM. And a guy that's rid the TC bench for, 2 seasons is not a guy that I want as my AGM. That being said, the Q is a great place for players like Zach. I mean, guys that really haven't been able to prove themselves or show that they have the talent to make a CHL roster.
Hey, on the bright side, Zach can't report he's GM anymore because he is the GM.
Is he the GM or is he the AGM?
The AGM, so technically he can't report anybody on the team.
That's true. All right, for my third fill in the blank, the last one of this episode, and this is probably the one we're going to throw the poll up on. Which team will be the number 1 seed at the end of the week, or at the end of the season? And that would be in the O.
End of the season.
Niagara.
Options. I'll give you options. That's a funny joke, look. It's probably gonna get edited out. I'm gonna name these teams out for you. North Bay, London, Saginaw, Peterborough, or we'll throw another option in there for you guys. We'll throw in what do you guys think? Niagara or Barrie?
Niagara.
Okay, we'll throw in Niagara for fun. Those are going to be your 5 options for the poll this week. So, poll of the week.
Okay, my input on this, just because I know this may sound skepticism once again. I'm sorry for doing this once again. But if you look at these rosters, it will stand word by word. Mine and Vaddy's roster here are mostly prospects compared to those teams he's named. And
that's true. I just didn't want to throw our teams out there.
Yeah, but honestly, if I had to pick between those teams, probably London.
I gotta say London because they're exactly like our teams. I mean, they're prospect driven. They've touched every base that you need to make a team. Great centers, great defense, great goalies. They just dropped Daly. Daly was supposed to be a solid Tindy in the C. They dropped him. He's on TC. They're trying to trade him away, and they're still winning games. I mean, tells you something right there. I'm going to have to go with London, too. All right, guys. What grinds your gears this week in the CHL? Fluxy, let's start with you.
EA physics. I'm skating over the puck, and my magnet stick isn't working. We've had shitty goals on us. Somebody tried to pass it and ended up shooting on our goalie, and mid-air the puck just drops. I don't know how, and it just went under the goalie, and then trying to clear, I accidentally shot it on my own net 3 times, and one of them I actually hit crossbar.
Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like you're trying to score on your team on purpose here. I'm just saying.
Not a draft where you can draft Austin Matthews next year, right, Fluxy? You do not get to keep the team to draft Austin Matthews. Do not tank.
Is there a record for most goals against your own team?
No, I don't think you want to be that guy. You're going to end up with a 3 season. Anyways, we got to wrap up the show. Dorothy, what to grind your gears this week?
This week, EA's cheap ass servers. That's what's grinding my gears. The cheapness.
We need to get this shit fixed. That's for sure. I mean, LG's barely running. I think everyone's getting real tired of it. I got people wanting to quit. I'm trying to keep
complaining about the button lag. That's the main priority. They're freaking out.
Yeah.
My guys told me if they're in an LG game and they hit a button lag or some sort of lag, they're hitting pause and quitting.
Yeah,
They don't care where we start in the lobby. I was like,
they're the only team that thinks that. And then I'll go ahead and talk about mine. We're gonna wrap up the show after that. Really grinds my gears this week. I got two. The one, when people quit on their teams, it makes me look see as the manager. I just don't know what the purpose is, what's behind it. There's no reason to do it, and you just look like a tool. And it doesn't make you look like a good person. You really need to be there for your team. As I said earlier in the show, you just need to be there. There's no reason you shouldn't be there. I think especially with all these new Q managers, we need to set an example as the OHL managers that have been here for a while. There's no reason you should quit on your team. I don't care what the extent is. I don't care if all of your players get fucking called up. My second thing that really grinds my gears. Of course, like Dar said, the damn servers are annoying. They worked perfectly in 15. Honestly, I would rather us all just buy a copy of NHL 15 at this point and play that, because this is ridiculous. And I think you guys got any last words to talk about the show before we do an outro? Any shout outs?
Shout out to who should I to? Who's shout out to Simpson for stepping up to that GM spot? Shout out to who shout out to Odie for sticking around and not quitting after going out.
Shout out to my mom. Hi mom, I'm on TV.
Solid input. I like it.
Solid plug.
Oh yeah, shout out to who was it? Who was it? Somebody on my team. I sent a message to them and they asked who I was, and I was like, I'm your GM for LG, and the guy messaged me back saying more like a plug.
Oh, shout out that guy. Put him on blast.
You know who you are.
You listen to the show, right? I guess I'll go ahead and shout out Simpson once again. Great guy right there. He's in the management chat now with all of us. Proud to have you on as a manager. You're going to do great, buddy. And then one more shout out. I'm going to shout out to Zeno and Tris and McDonald. I think you guys really are trying to make the queue better, and I think we all appreciate the effort you are trying to do by expanding the league. We just need to, hopefully we can get the Knicks and all the little trips and stuff that we're having and fix those as soon as possible, because I know a lot of these Q teams are hurting. So, and another shout out to any player that signs up for LG at this point. All of us are dying to have you, even if you will play TC. I think every team needs more players now. So, thank you for signing up and continue to do that. Other than that, I would say for CHL Mic'd Up, this is Vatanen signing off. Thanks for listening. Darth, Fluxy here, co-host. We're all glad to have you listen to our show. We'll hopefully be out a little bit earlier than this week. So thanks, guys, for listening. Make sure if you have any questions or comments about the show, post them on the forum or post them to our Twitter page at LGCHL Mic'd Up.